Hi, after a very long time, I think we are recording this session, and today's topic is how to draft an appointment letter. So, being an HR, if you're supposed to draft an appointment letter to your candidate, what all things you need to keep in mind? So, again, this is not an exhaustive list, it is just a blueprint of it. So, it can vary depending on the company policy. Yeah. Uh, so now moving on. So all of you, I suppose, can see my screen. So in that, if anything, any appointment letter or any draft from the company has to go in company's letterhead. Then the first thing should be the address of the company. Here you can see I've just mentioned it as ABC Group, and the address has been given on which date you're making the appointment letter, to whom the candidate, to whom you're addressing it, to the candidate, and their details, right? And then the subject. So appointment for the position of, which position you have to mention. Here I've given it as sales assistant. So then salutation, Mrs. Sagarika Ghosh. We are happy to inform that you have been appointed for the position of sales assistant. You have to mention the position in the group company, and then your employment will be effective from the date, from which date it will be considered as effective under the following condition. Then you have to mention the condition, the salary which will be allocated. You have to mention about the CTC, and that breakup you have to mention in schedule 1. It all depends upon the company's compensation and benefit policies, and it depends upon the performance and the interventions done by the management, and which keep on changes, so you have to mention that in salary. The place of posting, initially you'll be posted in Maharashtra, Mumbai, Maharashtra. It is subject to change, so you have to just mention it. May change, may not change, but to be on a safer side, every company does this. Yeah. Then working hours, leave policies, all these depends upon shop and establishment act of that particular state. So I have taken it as Maharashtra, so based on Maharashtra's shop and establishment act, I have done this working hours and leave policy. So generally minimum 40 hours is expected to be in a week's time, Monday to Friday. Then the normal timing which you have to mention, which is subject to change based on the company's requirement, right? And then the leave policy, you'll have in general there are three types of leaves: casual leave, your sick leave, and your privilege or earned leave. So all those things you have to mention. Any kind of leave without approval will be considered as loss of pay, and 5 hours will be considered as half day. More than that will be considered as full day. Then you can mention certain things like 3 consecutive 15 minutes late will be considered as half day. So it depends upon the company. Yeah. But mota mota, this is the thing which you have to mention in your appointment letter. The duties and responsibility that you can adhere, okay, you can mention in schedule 2. So then the provident fund, the PF Act, based on the PF Act of 1952, the contribution every employee is supposed to make to the PF is 12%. So you have to adhere to that. Then whom you'll report, the reporting manager. Mention the person's name to whom you'll be reporting. The probation and confirmation period, generally it is 6 months, and post that period your performance will be revised. If found satisfactory, you'll be considered for like as a permanent employee, or else it'll be further extended. So all these things has to be written in writing, so that there is no ambiguous situation that this was not informed or that was not informed. So all these things has needs to be mentioned, written rather, mentioned in the appointment letter. Then right of third party, and when you undersign this appointment letter, all these things are between you and the company. No third party should be involved into this. Then transfer, the company has a right to transfer you anywhere. When generally what happens if a company is small establishment, later on they open up in several other places. You need people out there who are experienced, so they have got the right to transfer you. Yeah, so well in advance they need to inform this. Then company property and return, any kind of thing, any kind of company's property, you have to maintain in good condition, failing to which they can ask for recovery. Yeah, authenticity of information. So when you join an organization, generally what they do, they check out your original documents, and based on that they take out a photocopy of it, the submitted one, and it's based on the given information from you. After the verification of any kind of verification, if you are found under you have presented a false statement, then anytime they have the right to remove you from the service without any notice. That need to be mentioned. Medical fitness, you have to undergo a medical checkup. This generally happens in MNCs and big companies who can afford such things, right? And the smaller companies, what they do, they ask you to provide the certificate which you have taken from the doctor that you don't have any issues. Notices, notices means any kind of communication that has to be done from the company will be sent to your permanent address which you have mentioned during the time of joining, right? Borrowing and accepting him, this generally happens in government organization that they have prohibited. So any kind of such dealings will not be accepted. Confidentiality of the information, that companies thing should be confidential even after you leave from the organization. So they make you sign a non-disclosure agreement also. So just to ensure that companies things are not leaked out. Disciplinary action, if you break any kind of rules inside the organization, you break their properties, you harm any kind of thing which harms the company, they've got the right to take disciplinary action against you. Then this POSH Act has come up in 2013. So any kind of misconduct, disrespect, with it is bound to be terminated. Applicability of company policy. So they've got what all leave other you're entitled to. So they'll mention like maternity leave, the transfer policy, and all these things, whatever benefits you're given, it is subject to change. Yeah, whenever you take a mutual fund, they say na that please read the offer document carefully before investing, which is subject to change and it depends upon the market. So similar way, just to be on a safer side, they put this. Then the governing body or jurisdiction, since the person here is being placed in Mumbai, Maharashtra, so High Court of Maharashtra will take up all the kind of disputes. Yeah, that they need to be aware. Termination, 2 months prior notice has to be given. And in terms of any fraudulent activity that has happened, the company has a right to terminate the employee. Acceptance of offer. At last, you write, please confirm your acceptance of this contract of employment by signing. You sign the original copy and you sign the duplicate copy, and you have to return the duplicate copy for their purpose, for the organization purpose. And you mention, we wish all the very best and a successful tenure in our organization, whoever is the HR head. Then the candidate has to sign, I hereby accept and agree the conditions. I also promise to adhere to the policy and the regulation of the company. They put the signature, they put their name, and they put the date. This is the general thing. And then, as I've mentioned, the salary breakup has been provided. Then the employee's duty, the lead generation. They being in sales, they have to generate leads, negotiate with the supplier, proactively deal with the client, work with team on creating new clients, maintaining the proper records of it. The responsibility is you have to adhere to the time, follow the direction of your superior, attend all the T&D program, right? So, it in a nutshell, I've just given you an idea what all things to be included. It depends upon the kind of company or the kind of industry you're working in. Yeah, it might change, but overall picture has been given. Now in our next session, what we'll discuss is how an appointment letter is different from an offer letter. Appointment letter is a larger version of your offer letter, and also an appointment letter for junior position you put an appointment letter, but for senior it's an employee handbook. The entire thing will be given where it is furthermore elaborated about what is expected by the organization. Yeah, with that note, I will say goodbye. If you like this work, please do like my channel, subscribe, and press the bell icon for more updates.